Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Great America Show. Good to have you with us here today. Marxist Attorney General Merrick Garland finally held in contempt of Congress. House Republicans this week voting 216 to 207 to hold Garland in contempt for not releasing the Biden special counsel Robert Hur's audio tapes of his interview with the puppet president. The vote was divided along party lines, with one rhino, David Joyce of Ohio, voting with those doggone Dems. Garland, who pledged when taking over as Attorney General to work independently from the White House, well, he's done just the opposite. He's lined up. He's more than a wingman. He's an entire fleet for the president. Garland issuing a statement after the vote. The Marxist AG says he is deeply disappointed that the House of Representatives has turned a serious congressional authority into a partisan weapon. Well, you've turned an entire Justice Department into a weapon, Garland. What the heck is your problem? This Attorney General may be as demented as the puppet president he serves, because he's the man responsible for weaponizing the federal government. President Trump on Capitol Hill Thursday to meet with House and Senate Republicans. He was met with a warm welcome at his first stop at the GOP campaign headquarters, where the packed room sang happy birthday to him. And then he headed over to the Senate side, where he met with outgoing Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. And this is the first time they've met in 4 years. With Hunter Biden's guilty verdict this week came a lot of noise from the Marxist Dems. You know who we didn't hear a word from? Those 51 intel chiefs who lied through their teeth and told us the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. Our guest today says he wants accountability for those liars. Our guest today is Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee. He sits on the House Oversight, Foreign Affairs, and Transportation Committees. And now here is Congressman Burchett. And Congressman, it's great to have you here. You want accountability for those who called Hunter Biden's laptop disinformation. And I want to just applaud you and commend you, because, you know, people calling for accountability in D.C., they're very few and far between. Do you think you can get it?
No. Heck no. This place is gutless, Lou. You know that. Dadgummit, I get so aggravated with them. But I think it's important that we try. It is, to me, you know, here's the intelligence community, so-called intelligence community. Heck, Lou, that's like, you know, integrity in Congress. It doesn't exist. And so, but I think it's important that we put it to a vote. We try to get these people in here, because realistically, the so-called intelligence community is, you know, decisions they make are life and death. These are the people that got our generals' ears and got the president's ear, things like that on top secret things that we never hear about, or if we do, it's days or months or years later. And yet these people all of a sudden developed a very bad case of groupthink, and they all just piled on a terrible issue that really possibly, and I think did have a serious effect on the outcome of the presidential election, and it was election interference. Now, they kept it, and they all said the same thing. You know, you've seen those montages of the national media when the Democrat puts out they put out their talking points, and then the CNNs, the NBCs, the ABCs, the CBSs, on down the line, they all just put it out. They almost the exact same verbiage. And if you saw any of the interviews with them, it was the same type of thing. I would like to get them in and maybe just study how they got this information, who they got it from, and then go to them and find out how it was formulated. Because this was a very serious issue to say this was a Russian interference. This was them putting something on American soil so we would find it. So I think we need to find out their line of thinking on this issue, and so we don't make those same mistakes again.
Yeah, I think it's a short line. I think they figured out that they could change the course of history if they just did that and got away with it, and they could stop President Trump from returning to the Oval Office.
Yes, sir.
It's that straightforward, I think.
100%. You know, I used to have an old lobbyist. His name was Tom Hensley. He was the golden goose. He was the liquor lobbyist. I never voted for any liquor bills, but I didn't vote for taxes either. So he loved me, and he was my dear friend. And I was so upset when he died. His family, I was very close to him. But he had a say. He told me one time we were sitting at the bar at the Crown Plaza, and he had his expensive Jack Daniels and a very expensive cigar, and I was drinking my cranberry juice. And he said, Burchett, he said, I don't need to control the whole House or the whole Senate. They said, I just need one chairman. And I thought, that's very profound. And I've stored that back. And that's exactly what I think they've done here. They just needed one person. And we need to know who that one person is. And we need to work at making sure they never have a seat at the table.
Well, how about just getting one speaker? Because it looks like somebody's bought into whatever it is he's selling.
I agree. But, I haven't heard yet back from Chairman Comer. He usually grabs me in the gym or at committee and tells me yay or nay on my letters. And he's been pretty forthcoming, him and Jim Jordan both, on doing this. And they've been penalized a lot. A lot of people have gotten after them and said, what's the use? But Lou, I think you probably agree with me. When the Democrats were in control, Oversight Committee, they had a series of hearings on naming the Washington Redskins, renaming them because it was offensive, even though an Indian actually gave them that name. But the truth is that was the most serious thing they handled. And yet Chairman Comer and Chairman Jordan are both being criticized in the national media because they're going after, we're having hearings over what we're supposed to be doing, over the functions of government. And I'm hoping that he follows through with this. But I've often said that a lot of these members are compromised, Lou, and the intelligence community are the ones that I would think if you had a uniparty or a deep state, I'd say deep state, and you could probably see that, put them at the head of that list.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. It's also, it seems to me pretty clear that right now, those 51 Intel veterans, as they were called, who denigrated the reality of that laptop, not one of them has a leg to stand on. They lied through their teeth. They were there to change the outcome of the 2020 election. And then you get an old buffalo like James Clapper saying, I wouldn't change a thing. And you think, what in the world is this fool saying? He's saying it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. His motives were so pure and so elevated that none of us mere mortals should be able to hold him to account. Well, I say hold him to account.
Well, that is the definition of groupthink. I mean, you surround yourself with people that aren't as smart as you to make you feel better about your decision. It was Bay of Pigs and at Watergate, things like that could have been diffused or handled differently, but it weren't because the people around them were more. I mean, since we're not on mainstream media, they were more, more interested in the butt kiss than they were about the production of what they were doing. And I think that's clearly what's happened here. And, honestly, it was just a coup. It was they took us over without a shot, and they did not want Donald J. Trump in the White House, and they did what they had to do, and they did it well. I mean, it was hook, line, and sinker.
Hook, line, and sinker. We got it all. I have to just question one thing you said. What do you mean we're not mainstream media here? I mean, that's kind of hurtful.
Well, I would hope you're not, Lou. I've told this story. There's my daddy down there at Ben Atchley Nursing Home. It wasn't long before he was going to meet the Lord. And I walked in one time, I was mayor, and I was fighting the big boys. I was fighting the chamber. I was always fighting everybody because everybody wanted to raise taxes, and I didn't. I did stupid things like pay down debt when I was mayor. And I walked in, and Daddy grunted out. He couldn't understand. Nobody could understand him but me and Mama and I guess I should say, excuse me. And he said, are they after you again? And I said, yeah, Daddy, they are. And he pulled me up close and he said, you really want that bunch for you? And you don't want that bunch for you, Lou. You don't want to be considered mainstream media because mainstream media is corrupted and they are compromised. And the bad thing about it is a lot of them don't even know it, like Clapper, like these old, whatever. I got to be careful. I got too many. I got IOUs in my swear jar at the house.
Well, I'm too old to get careful, so I'll just keep plodding on. We're talking with Congressman Tim Burchett, and we're listening to every word with rapt attention because he unleashes truth, and we like that. We'll be right back talking with Congressman Tim Burchett.
Wellness Company and their doctors are medical professionals you can trust. And their new medical emergency kits are the gold standard when it comes to keeping you safe and healthy. This medical emergency kit contains an assortment of life-saving medications, including ivermectin, Z-Pak. Rest assured, knowing that you have emergency antibiotics, antivirals, and antiparasitics on hand to help you and your family stay safe from whatever life throws at you next.
We're talking with Congressman Tim Burchett, and Congressman, I want to go to Ocasio-Cortez because she and Raskin and the decided. Oh, wait a minute.
It's pollen, Lou.
We got a farm full of it.
Yeah, I know, dude. I do too, man. It's like the yellow fog every morning on my windshield.
So, all right, there. I think I've recovered. All right, John, we'll try this again.
You want me to do it, Lou? You want me to do the intro? I can do it.
All right, let's do it. Hang on. Wait a minute. You got to get ready. Get a standby from John. Very precise professional metrics we follow here.
You're rolling. It's Congressman Tim Burchett here, and we're joined by Lou Dobbs. Lou, give me your thoughts on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Well, I think this is a woman that is seriously bound to some favors that she shares too often with the public. Namely, most recently, saying that she wanted to rein in fundamentally unaccountable and rogue members of the Supreme Court. And she's aligned with Jamie Raskin. It's pretty impressive, the deep thinking that goes on in places you would never suspect it.
I'll go one step further, Lou. You know, she's public. Here I have a degree in education. Daddy was a dean at UT and Mama was a career educator. Dadgummit, she's publicly educated with a degree in accounting. I mean, she's openly a Marxist, for goodness sake. She's a friend of mine. We don't agree on anything. She calls me Burchett. I call her Cortez. I brought a skateboard up that I built about a month ago, and she grabbed it and posed for a picture with it. But the truth is, this tells you what is coming out of our public institutions now. And that is a scary thought, to think that somebody with those kind of views is publicly educated with our tax dollars. You know, you got your Harvards, your Browns, your Yales, places like that. Can't do anything about them. They're private institutions, and they've gone off the rails a long time ago. But dadgummit, this is just too much. And to think, you know, and something else that bothers me is that when the president, nobody really talked about this. If you caught the State of the Union address at about 45 minutes into the babbling, he said something about the Supreme Court. I'm sure it was about abortion. He said, we need to let them know what we think about it. You know, he's not supposed to cross that barrier, you know, and to me, that just shows you how out of touch they are and how out of touch the national media is, because they should be slamming them for that stuff. And that is exactly an issue we don't have any bearing on, except for the president who appoints those in the United States Senate. You know, this whole deal that it's not going the way they want, so let's change the rules. That is not the mindset we need. That is a banana republic, and we do not need that.
These folks are eating a lot of bananas right now on the left. When you say that this court is out of touch, it's to rein in an unaccountable and rogue Supreme Court, and Justice Alito, he's created a major infraction of the rules. This man has actually let it be known that he believes in godliness in America. And to see the left-wing media take after this, you would have thought he said that he's been a sleeper agent for the Soviet Union for years and didn't get the word that the Soviet Union is no more. Right. It's crazy what they're doing. And the big crime is being godly and calling for godliness in America. And by the way, I think everybody would acknowledge we're in short supply of that right now.
Yeah, pun intended, heaven forbid. You know, I mean, my gosh, I don't know. The founders, they're able to look down upon us. They're spinning like a top in their freaking graves right now. I mean, they have just thrown out the Constitution. If it doesn't work for them, we're going to change all the rules. And they're like spoiled brats, but it's our own fault. Here we are. They're going to take us without a shot because we've allowed these colleges and institutions for years to allow these liberals. You know, you wonder where all the hippies and the protesters went from the 60s and 70s. They're on your dadgum college campuses right now teaching and running them. You know, I would dare say, they always talk about diversity. I said, well, ask them how many dadgum Republicans they got in their sociology department. You want to celebrate diversity? I said, I don't want to hear it. And I've asked the media in my town, and nobody's got the guts to do it because it's public record. I want to know what primary some of these big shots vote in. That would be interesting to note. You know, you got all the colleges and stuff, and they all run up there to kiss up to the colleges, and they go sit in the skyboxes and go to the fancy games and go on the trips and stuff. And these professors and the presidents all tell them how great they are. Well, check their dadgum voting box and see which primary they're voting in. I'll guarantee you that I'd say about 98% of them are not voting in the Republican primary.
Well, I checked the primary box in South Carolina, and I was thrilled to see that Nancy Mace had won her primary, and Kevin McCarthy, the arch villain of the Rhino Republicans, he just got crushed like a little rhino bug.
Yeah,
and it was a wonderful thing, and I just want to salute Nancy Mace for what she pulled off there in South Carolina. And I hope everybody takes Kevin McCarthy and just drums him across the country.
Well, the interesting thing about that, Lou, he has $17 million and that he claimed, or 16, and they were claiming they never played in primaries. And I know several members have said, in fact, that they did in their districts. I wish somebody do a story on that because that's money people gave him to beat Democrats, not to run against MAGA or conservative Republicans. But in fact, that's what they're using the money for.
Yeah. And by the way, he's running pretty hard to be part of the Trump administration.
Oh,
apparently. Bless you. God bless you. And I just don't get it. I mean, there's no bigger Trump supporter than me, but I get nervous just seeing him in a crowd near the president, let alone traveling with him.
Yeah.
I hope that the stories are wrong and that he has not wormed his way into the power center of the Trump candidacy and campaign. Your thoughts about Kevin McCarthy? Do you have any love for him?
Oh, I don't hate anybody, Lou. I honestly don't hate anybody. I don't have any hate for him. If he's chief of staff though, or something like that, I think that would just start off on an adversarial role with a lot of real conservatives, people that have stuck their neck out, like myself, like Matt Gaetz and others, Bob Good, others, that I think is just the wrong approach. I think, once you're gone, you're gone. And you need to go on about it. I used to see these guys in the legislature would get beat or they would leave and they'd come back and they want to be a sergeant at arms or something, or try to be a lobbyist or something. They just never did fit back in. I just ride off into the dadgum sunset. When I leave here, I'm going to go on the farm. I'm going to play with my wife and daughter and lose more money raising horses.
Well, I have to say, the idea that Kevin McCarthy is advising Mike Johnson as Speaker, and there is big as you please. There's Paul Ryan up on Fox News, and by the way, Paul Ryan is on the board of Fox, talking to little Neil about politics and telling everybody what an awful person President Trump is. I mean, what happened to the rules? He's a board member of a public company, and he's out there just spewing hate left and right. What happened to hate crimes? I mean, he's a walking hate crime.
Well, I think they're just taking their lead from the left and how they've done it for years. And I want to be different. I don't want to be like them. I want to be above that. I want, but it seems my thoughts kind of fall on deaf ears around here.
Well, you don't have to hate on them, But you know what? It's great fun to kind of just nudge them once in a while, maybe just a little shot here and there. But tell me.
I'd say Nancy Mace was a good little nudge last night. I expect they're going to get another one, Bob Good, and
all right.
Myself. They a couple of people apparently they'd contacted a couple of people in my district about running against me as well because I'm one of the 88. And they came to me, and they didn't happen.
That's great. Well, that's great. And by the way, I hope Good does real good and wins that thing. So he's a great American.
I went down there. I went down to his district, and you would love the people. It was very much across the board, from the country club to the guys and gals with the names on their shirt. I met a lot of people down there. I think we had like 7 or 8 events that day. And it's very grassroots. I dug it very much. It's the kind of campaign I like to run.
Super. Well, we're going to find out what else Congressman Burchett likes right after these quick words. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Wellness Company and their doctors are medical professionals you can trust. And their new medical emergency kits are the gold standard when it comes to keeping you safe and healthy. This medical emergency kit contains an assortment of life-saving medications, including ivermectin, Z-Pak. Rest assured, knowing that you have emergency antibiotics, antivirals, and antiparasitics on hand to help you and your family stay safe from whatever life throws at you next.
We're back. We're talking with Congressman Tim Burchett. Congressman, as we wrap up here, I just want to get a sense from you as to the nature of the Republican conference right now. Until November 5th, is it your sense you're going to win more seats in the House? Is it your sense that the Republicans are going to come out of this stronger? What is your view?
I think we should. President Trump's coming in tomorrow to speak to the conference, and I hope he unites us at that meeting, because we've got a lot of people in that really honestly don't care for him, and he is our nominee. We need to rally behind him, and I think that this rising tide will raise all the ships if we know how to capitalize on it, and we don't go off in 100 different directions. And also too, I hope President Trump lays out a plan for more majority seats, because what we did in the past has not really worked. As you know, our leadership told us last go around we could have as many as 40 new seats, and we were up 5 or 6 or something like that. I don't know. And but to me, that's not acceptable, because that doesn't put us in a good light with the American public. It puts people like me, who are very conservative, in more power, because then my vote actually I can sway some things and get more conservative amendments and principles in bills. But I hope he talks about, it's costing Americans $600 more a year now. Our enemies don't fear us. Our friends don't respect us. Fentanyl flooding over the border, tighten up the border, and what we're going to do day one. And I hope that we nail out some pretty specific things there, because I think the American public are demanding that right now. We need results. We can see all around us what's wrong. You go to the gas pump, you go to the store, you can just see it everywhere. And so I would hope he would lay out some specifics.
There are some real turns in the polling as well. For the first time in my career, there's always been an agitation about illegal aliens taking American jobs. But now we have solid polling from CBS News and YouGov to state categorically 62% of Americans want illegal aliens who've been brought in by the Biden administration to be thrown out of the country, deported. And that is extraordinary. We've never seen numbers like that. That is, if nothing else, a mandate to do exactly what President Trump said he's going to do, which is carry out the largest deportation program in the country's history. Your thoughts?
Well, I'd say it'd be a good time to invest in busing stock, because they're going to that's how they'll do it. They'll bust them right out of the nation. And I think that's excellent. He's just saying what everybody's been whispering. We haven't been whispering it in Tennessee, I can tell you that. And I haven't been whispering it. But, every time you see the crime in the streets, and then you see where veterans are kicked out of homeless shelters so that they can house illegals, and they're issued health care and things like that our veterans and our citizens who pay for it aren't getting, I think they see a White House that is way out of step. That's why you're seeing black folks and Hispanic folks that are here legally are saying enough is enough. We stood in line. They're coming after this president, Donald Trump. They can sure as hell come after me, and they want to put an end to it.
Well, Congressman, we, as always, appreciate your time, and thank you for being with us here on the Great America Show. Thanks so much.
Lou, it's a great pleasure. Thank you. I was having withdrawals. I wasn't on here lately, so thank you, brother, and pray for our country.
Amen. Thanks so much. God bless you.
God bless you, Lou.
Thanks, everybody, for being with us. Be sure to join us tomorrow for the Great America Saturday Show, and be sure to join us tonight for Lou Dobbs Tonight, 7 Eastern and 6 Central on Frink Speech, Rumble, Roku, and X. Thank you, everybody. God bless you, and may God bless America.